All right, I fell asleep and I just wanted to make this video here about the latest gun violence that happened today in the country. And we're talking about another mass shooting, this time in Texas. And of course, News 12 is covering it, as well as most of the media, because it's just tragic how many times this has to happen. This kind of violence has to happen. And I believe it's now over 20 dead. If we look at the latest statistic here, we have, from News 12 here, gunman kills at least 19 children at Texas elementary school. So an 18-year-old gunman opened fire Tuesday at a Texas elementary school, killing at least 19 children as he went classroom to classroom in the deadliest school shooting in nearly a decade, and the latest gruesome moment for a country scarred by a string of massacres. The attacker was killed by law enforcement. And this happened at the Robb Elementary School in the heavily Latino town of Uvalde. How many more times does this have to happen? I mean, all this violence going on. We go to NBC New York and we look at the latest, this random shooting. We have a mental health crisis in this country. This is our first look at
we have
people who are
in NYPD.
Severely mental, people who are violent, getting access to these weapons, and nobody seems to be doing a damn thing about it. All I hear is a bunch of talk. That's all I hear. And we need to do something about this. All right, we really do. First of all, mental health coverage needs to be much more emphasis on mental health. In fact, I think perhaps we should make seeing a therapist mandatory for everyone in this country, at least every 6 months. All right, it should be a checkup, just like when you see your doctor and you get your physical. Well, you should have a mental health check too, at least once a year. All right, and we do need to make it harder for people. With these people shouldn't be getting guns. How are they getting the guns? It's unbelievable. And I have to bring the New York governor election in, because if Kathy Hochul wins the primary, you have to understand Lee Zeldin is somebody who stands with Trump, all right? Or at least he stood with Trump. And I really don't want to see Lee Zeldin become the governor, all right? I would much rather see Tom Suozzi become the governor. And why is Kathy Hochul so horrible? Well, Kathy Hochul didn't even acknowledge the shooting on her Facebook page today. She didn't even acknowledge it. I mean, it just shows how out of touch she is with reality. It just shows how out of touch she is with reality. Meanwhile, Phil Murphy did acknowledge it. And he said, while there are no credible threats, New Jersey OAG has directed law enforcement. I guess Governor Hochul isn't doing anything right now to protect the school children in New York. Today, in the wake of yet another horrific attack. I'm trying to keep it together because I'm really upset about this. All right. The American people are waiting in exasperation and terror as members of Congress sit on their hands rather than pass nationwide gun safety legislation. All right. And they're just sitting on their hands and they're not doing anything while this continues to get worse. I think that when somebody applies to get a gun, they should have a mental health check. All right, and if they have a mental health issue, then they should not have that gun. All right. Thank you, Phil Murphy, for speaking up. See, this is a man who actually cares about the people. New Jersey, you have a great governor, but we just have a selfish, arrogant snob as our governor in New York. And so I want to play this video for you from News 12 about, I've been meaning to do this, but I keep forgetting, and I wanted to play this video because I think Tom Suozzi is really the best chance for this state as far as the next governor. We're going to listen to what he said here, and it makes a lot of sense.
Continue our look at the candidates running in the Democratic primary for governor with Representative Tom Suozzi. The three-term congressman is challenging Governor Kathy Hochul and New York City public advocate Jumaane Williams for the state's top job. Our senior reporter, Kurt Sember, tells us why Representative Suozzi believes he's the right person at the right time.
Everything I've done in my life has prepared me for this particular job at this particular time.
Tom Suozzi believes his experience makes him the ideal choice for governor. From mayor of Glen Cove on Long Island to Nassau County executive,
he has a lot of experience,
and most recently, Congress.
I think that my party is really not in touch with the people. It's going too far to the left.
He sat down with us to
There you go. That's exactly right.
Discuss his plan for the future of New York and his message, which he says resonates with anyone, no matter where in the state they live.
People are concerned about taxes, they're concerned about crime, and they're concerned about their schools. Those are my messages. I'm very clear about this.
He's also very clear about his stance on Governor Kathy Hochul's changes to the state's bail reform laws.
When you have a crime crisis where people are freaking out in New York City, they're afraid to take the subway, people are afraid to take the train into Grand Central, into Penn Station, you have to bring everybody on board and develop a comprehensive plan to address this problem. Can't be a press release 10 days before the budget and say, you know, this is like my political fix. That's all this is.
When it comes to taxes, Representative Suozzi says he wants to reduce them now.
We have the highest taxes in the United States of America. People cannot afford to live here anymore. Everybody who's watching your show knows somebody that's moved to Florida or to South Carolina or to North Carolina or somewhere else because they just can't afford to live here anymore.
And on schools?
I want to help kids in troubled schools. Too many kids have been left behind for generations. We have to help these kids at a young age, because if we don't help them at a young age, that's where crime comes from. That's where poverty comes from. That's where homelessness comes from. That's where other societal dysfunction comes from.
Bringing everyone together is something that Suozzi claims as one of his strengths.
I'll work with progressives. I'll work with anybody. I'll work with anybody to help people. I'm not going to put you in a box and don't put me in a box. Let's work together to actually solve problems and help people. That's what I've been doing my whole career in public life, and that's what I'll continue to do.
Kurt Semder, News 12.
So this is a very important. Primary, Democratic primary, because if we do put Hochul in, and we all know New York State votes Democrat, then Hochul will become the next governor. She'll be getting another 4 years, and we continue with the path that New York is on, which is this violence, the crime, the subway attacks, the inequality, the corruption. All of that will continue, and we're going to deal with it, the brunt of that, right here in the middle of the island. I mean, we've seen the homeless problem just get out of control. Yeah, I'm even noticing it in Belmore now. I saw a homeless guy here. There's a shopping cart, and then tonight I was out taking pictures of the sky because I had some stars out by Mineola Memorial Park, and saw a homeless person actually camped out in this tennis court here. Can't really see it too well, but there's a homeless person there. Right here. See if it'll try to brighten it up a little bit. You can see there's a homeless person just lying down there. And then here, right in my neighborhood, another homeless, looks like a homeless woman with a big shopping cart there. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. Our quality of life is getting worse, and the governor does not care. And so, if Hochul gets another term, we will continue to see what we're dealing with here on Long Island, which is, the deterioration of the quality of life. While the South Shore, which has all the racists and everything, gets taken care of and gets all the attention, and get all the investment, and we get all the problems dumped in our areas, and we get all the neglect going on just because we're not a certain demographic. And then the city also goes, most of the city goes, and, and the stock market, until it keeps going, we don't know where it's going to wind up, guys. You know that. So, yeah, right here. So, So, again, I my condolences go out to everybody in Texas, but I wanted to take this opportunity to show you the difference, once again, between Governor Phil Murphy, who actually cares about people, and the self-serving bitch that we have as governor of New York. So, that's going to be it. Thank you for watching.